The unit head is the pastor, and the chapter head is the bishop. Okay, bishop. So once you see your chapter head, call him Hi Grand Lolo Bishop. Okay, so that's the relationship. So you should understand that. So unit leaders, you're a father and a pastor. Wow, that's a super father. Tatay na pari pa, no? But anyway, if I have to ask you, what are the good characters and attitudes of a father of a family? What are the character and good attitudes of a pastor, of a priest in your parish? Think about that for a few seconds, my dear brothers and sisters, because those character and attitudes are exactly what you need as unit leaders in the community. Okay? So think about that. Again, you are a father and a pastor. Brothers and sisters, the chapter is the mini CFC. And then the chapter actually reports indirectly to the next mini CFC, which is the area council. And then after the area councils, the national council, and then the international council. So where does the chapter leaders and the sector head, etc., no? Like here in Northern California, we have two sectors. Where do they lie? They are in between. Actually, they're not classified as a mini CFC. So the chapter actually is a mini CFC, just like it is like a parish, wherein the bishops regard all the parishes as their communities, mini communities. And do you know that every parish has their own cluster structure? They call it deanery, composed of about 8 to 12 parishes, and they call their deanery as a dean, similar to a cluster head, but he only coordinates. You cannot see any deanery assembly. That's why, as per manual, we're not really supposed to conduct regular cluster assemblies. So it's always the chapter and the area. But anyway, let's go back. So you will just see how important the chapter is. The chapter head and then the unit leader. So unit leaders, father, and a pastor. Now let's understand, my dear brothers and sisters. Unit head is the brother, unit leader is the wife. Okay, let's understand. It is serving in community is not like a functional service in any other organization. Okay, so it is a gift from the Lord, and you are anointed. Until you realize that, my dear brothers and sisters, you're gonna get tired. You're gonna get burdened. You're gonna get oppressed, and you're gonna be stressed. You have to think about it's coming from God and it's something divine. Okay? Number two, it is a means for us to grow in spirit towards God, to get closer to Him, and spiritually to be a better person. Again, brothers and sisters, it is a noun, a gift, and second, it is a means to grow. Okay, so it's almost the same guideline that we use or criteria whenever we attend a CFC gathering. We'll make sure that when we attend a CFC gathering, it is a means for us to grow spiritually. If it is not, then let's not organize such activity, my dear brothers and sisters. So, as a unit leaders, your position, I would say, or your designation is something holy, is something divine, and is a way for you to get closer to God. Okay? So we're done with that. Now let's talk about the relationship to you, to your members, the chapter head, and to the community. So it should be clear, huh? Number one, um, personal attitude to yourself. Okay, because if it's gonna be a burden, what will happen? As I said, you will be stressed out, you will be burdened. There's lack of enthusiasm will be on your part. That's why some some youth for Christ or some singles would not like transition to couples for Christ because they see their parents as super tired when they get home. Their faces are like they came from a funeral, and they verbally and physically show to everyone that they are super tired. Okay, so this is what happened, brothers and sisters, when you consider your service as a unit leader as a burden, lack of enthusiasm, and your members will see that, my dear brothers and sisters. And your leaders, your chapter head, will not be able to bring you to the point where they intend to bring you. Brothers and sisters, our our plan here is for each and every CFC member to have a pastoral track, individual. My pastoral track is different from Brother Reman. It's different from any other brother. As a unit leader, we should come up with a specific, unique pastoral plan for each and every member that we have. Okay? So in the same thing, my dear brothers and sisters, if we are burdened, then our chapter head will not have an effective pastoral plan for us because we have to be spiritually growing and mature so that we can move towards that track. Okay, so what are the character or attitude that we need to have in order for us ourselves to consider ourselves a blessing and not a burden? Number one is to have a caring attitude. Number two, to have a listening attitude. Number three is to be approachable. Number four is to be adjustable. And number five is to be mindful. If you want an acronym, then imagine about clams, seafood, CLAAM. Caring, listening, approachable, adjustable, mindful. Have a caring attitude. The first paragraph of our opening song a while ago expresses all this attitude. We have to have love, concern, and empathy. So we're talking about more on values and virtues here, my dear brothers and sisters. We're not talking about functional relationship. Forget about admin, governance, service. We talk about spiritual or pastoral because that's the most important thing, my dear brothers and sisters. Let us not just have a functional relationship with everybody, with our chapter head, with our members. Let's have it something spiritual or pastoral, okay? Number two, know how to listen. Uh, my brother-in-law was my unit head before. My father-in-law was my cluster head. There was a time we shared the same house. It's a big house, about 7 bedrooms. So I was first year of marriage. We were staying in there. You know what? My brother-in-law and my father-in-law, they set meetings with their, let's say he was the unit head, he was at a meeting with the household head, and I hear him talking about each member individually, spending 30 minutes all about one member. How is he growing? What are his concerns? What are his strengths? Is he attending this? They are discussing it individually. Unlike now, we don't really care that much, and then if we talk about it, we refer to them as a group. How's your household members, brother? Household dad? How are they? But before, they talk about each and every one. Okay, so how is brother A? Is he faithful in attending activities? Because if he is faithful in attending activities, number one is his desire for growth. Number two, he has a desire to be close with other brothers and sisters. Number three is also an indication that he loves CFC. Okay, so he is not the unit head is not only asking why he's not attending. Okay? He was asking about the relationship of the member with the Lord and his outlook in the community because the relationship will determine everything else. The attendance, the service of the member, it will really depend on his relationship with the Lord. Number three, attitude, be approachable. Okay? Be approachable through actions. And through actions, the only The sign that you're approachable is you are available. You're not running around so busy yourself and then you don't even smile. So the only thing when you see a brother, a unit head, the only way that you think you can talk to him is number one, he's available. Number two, if he's welcoming, positive attitude, always smiling. Of course, as a unit head, you can encourage openness. You can tell your members, I'm open, my dear brothers and sisters. Anytime you can approach me for any concerns, difficulties, or questions. Or cultivate a climate or environment wherein you can talk to each and every of your member. Okay, because in an assembly, it's really very hard to talk to them, right? Individually. Uh, I try my best to talk to every person whenever there is a gathering. I go around, but it's only a sentence or two. But come up with an environmental climate. I don't really know, but maybe you can visit their house, invite them to a coffee, so that's number three, be approachable. Number four, be adjustable to situations and varied personalities. As you know, each and every member has his own personality, and each one of them have their own situation. So we had to adjust, my dear brothers and sisters. I remember when I first came here in the US, it was Gawad Kalinga, and then they divided 1,500 among four of us. That's how much, my leader failed to acknowledge that I'm just new in the US. I'm on a working visa. My salary is not like theirs. Okay. So be sensitive to different situations of our members and their personalities. Okay. Their interests and their levels of commitment. But nevertheless, when you talk to them, don't be like a politician. You should always speak the truth. Okay? And be discerning on your approach. Your approach should be always a loving approach. And then lastly, as I mentioned, the CLAM, CLAM. Lastly, be mindful of our objective in CFC. Your career path or your pastoral path for them is to move them into holiness and service to the Lord. So do not look at technical fulfillment. I used to do, whenever I do check on a member or do a one-on-one, I use the covenant guard as a guideline. I should not be doing that. It's too technical, my dear brothers and sisters. I should really get to be personal and ask everything under the sun on the personal matter. Because, let's say, in the first few items of the covenant card, pray for 15 minutes. You ask, is he praying 15 minutes? Or is he studying the Bible? The question really actually is, does he have a prayerful life? How deep is he when he is praying, bro, brother House of that? Do you think there is a spiritual depth whenever he prays in your household, and whenever you praise and worship a God? Is there always a God factor whenever he prays and whenever he share? Is there always a spirit or God uh, in it, or it's just all about himself? Okay, so it's the same thing. So, brothers and sisters, again, as a summary, as your attitude and character, the clam, as I mentioned, be caring, listening, approachable, adjustable, and mindful. Now, let's go. Next, that's your relationship to your members, huh? Next is, what's about your relationship with your chapter head? Number one, realize the importance of your relationship. As I mentioned a while ago, since the chapter is the BNE CFC, therefore, he is the CEO actually, he's the grandfather, he is the one in charge. So he's the overall leader. You, unit leaders, are just an extension of the chapter head. Okay? And therefore, we do not serve independently. Okay? We do not serve independently. Okay, so if this is the function of the household, the chapter head, you just operate within that. You cannot operate outside. Uh, okay, so he's like a grandfather. He's the one who has direct connection to the area council and the national council, and indirectly to God, the chief shepherd. And therefore, let's eagerly seek input always from the chapter head. And number two, the consequence of that is do not alter, tone down, edit your chapter head's directions to you or nor his teachings, okay? Or the CFC teachings. Do not dilute them. Give them as they are, my dear brothers and sisters. I noticed that, I've been in charge for about 3 years of the social services of ANCOP, like the Love and Mercy and the feeding program, all the social services within the US. And when I go around the place, nobody knows about it. The House of the Unities, they don't know about it. But, our national council keeps on harping about it whenever they meet the regional leaders. I guess there's a miscommunication, along the way. Or maybe there is a dilution of the message. Like, for example, if there's a conference and I'm the unit head and I don't intend to attend or I cannot attend, um, it may affect my passion to encourage my unit members to attend the conference because I myself is not attending. It's the same thing, but what I mean to say is whatever instruction that they will give, even if you think it's not gonna be accepted totally by the members, give it to them. And then I know some of them are difficult, but you have to give it straight, and you just use your values and virtues of encouragement, support, and pastoral care to explain it to them. Okay? Number three, relationship with your chapter head. If you disagree with him or there's unclarity, take it up with him. Again, not with the cluster head, okay? Take it up with him. If you may, my dear brothers and sisters, stop to the chapter leader's head. I know we can go to the cluster head, but please talk to the chapter head. He will explain, he will clarify and appreciate it. And when we talk to him, maintain a posture of humility, subordination, and think about what is good for the body, brothers and sisters. At times at the end of the day, like I myself, I used to question, I used to complain, but at the end of the day, I will submit. Okay? Let's have that kind of attitude. Of course, unless the chapter head what he's doing is sinful or grossly negligent or very, 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 very administratively wrong. Okay? But if it's just a matter of preference, I don't like the color that you chose for our chapter. The color is orange. I don't like that because I'm fat. They will see my bilbil. Can we change that chapter head? No. If it's a matter of preference or if it's not actually sinful, I'll just submit it, my dear brothers and sisters. If it's a matter of strategy or tactic, just submit ourselves, okay? That's our relationship with our chapter head. Now, the next variation of that is how about your members and your chapter head? And you are in between. Okay? If your members disagree with something that's coming from the chapter head, an instruction, do not protect your chapter head from your members. Do not have the feeling that if there will be problems in your unit, you will think that, oh, my chapter head will think that I am a weak unit leader. I want to tell him all my problems. Please do tell it to your chapter head. My dear brothers and sisters, you are an extension of your chapter leaders. I would say it is a pass-through. You are an ambassador, so as if you represent him or you are him. Okay, so please let him know if your members disagree. Why? Is the godfather, is the grandfather, your members are part of his flock, he also cares for them, and he needs that feedback for evaluation, consequently, action. Okay? So, brothers and sisters, we're done. Huh? Relationship to us personally, our attitude, number two, with our members, number three, with our chapter head. But, Brother Rod, you mentioned the fourth one you said a while ago, CFC. Okay, CFC I mentioned, okay? The way you handle your relationship to yourself, your character and your attitude, plus the way you handle your relationship with your members, plus the way you handle the relationship of your with your chapter leaders equals the effect on CFC. So what I mean to say, if you're gonna ask the question, am I a burden or a blessing to the community at large? The answer is it depends on your relationship, your attitude, and your character. Number two, your relationship with your chapter leaders. Number three, your relationship with your members. So in summary, my dear brothers and sisters, oh, I'm almost 30 minutes. You are a blessing if you understand your role as a unit leader. Number two, if you serve with love and commitment, the one I told you is all about values and virtues. Okay, don't worry about functional. I'm a manager in the office. I should be also good with this. No, it's all about values and spirit, and it's all about virtues, my dear brothers and sisters. It's all about what matters in heaven. Okay. Next is you are a blessing if you continue to learn how to care for your members. Brothers and sisters, every year, ask your member the barometer, 1 to 10, spiritually, how are they doing now? Ask them. I used to ask it to my members, how are they? And then I ask also the wife. If there's a huge problem, like the husband is 8 and the wife is 2, or the vice versa, Houston, oh, I'm sorry, North Carolina, we have a problem. Okay? Now, if both of them are 2 or 3, oh, we really have a problem. So please check their spiritual being, my dear brothers and sisters, and please check with them what do they need. And number 3, what is their plan or pastoral track individually. I'm not talking about the pastoral track of our teaching individually as far as they are concerned. Okay. Our members may have finished the 3 4 year track, all the conference talks, but there's still something spiritually lacking from them. You would know some of them. They themselves will know some of it. And you have to sit down and from there, after knowing what they need and what they lack, then you can formulate the pastoral plan for each one of them and for your unit. And then lastly, you are a blessing if you submit to your elders in CFC. On the other hand, you become a burden to yourself if you have no joy in service, my dear brothers and sisters, if you're not happy with what you do. There's a problem, when we serve, uh, it should bring us joy. When we serve, it should makes us closer to God. So after we serve, let's reflect, let's think about things. And by thinking and reflecting, you will realize that these are the blessings, the gifts that the Lord has given us through small portions. But we know, we understand when we appreciate it. And therefore, it should give us joy, my dear brothers and sisters. Even if you have to do a lot of things in serving God, it is joy. Next, it is a burden if to your members you're not being a good model or example. It is a burden if you are not an extension of your chapter leaders and your elders, your cluster heads, and your area council. It is a burden because you're not helping move the body forward, because your unit is lagging behind for some reason, communication, bringing down messages, pastoral formation, or somebody or something, then there will be a burden. So, for every teaching, my dear brothers and sisters, there is always this challenge questions. Examine ourselves based on the one I said, your role, which encompasses character and attitude. And number two, the relationship. which you have with your members, which you have with your chapter heads and elders, and ultimately with the community. Examine yourself if you are a burden or a blessing. If you are a blessing, continue. Give it away. I mentioned a while ago, it is a gift that God has given you. When it's a gift, brothers and sisters, you open it. It's not like the gift in the Christmas tree that's left unopened for the 10 years already. It's only for purposes of display. You open it, you use it, you proclaim it, you show it to the others people, you use it to serve. For example, if your gift there in the box is a toothbrush, you use it and then you share your toothbrush to others. I think there's something wrong with that. But I mean, share your gift to others, my dear brothers and sisters. The gift of the blessing of serving. And then, of course, all of us will dream as unit leaders that all our members will be unit leaders someday, right? That's our hope and prayer. So I hope, brothers and sisters, let's continue to be a blessing to ourselves, to our members, to our leaders, to our community, even to other people as a whole, and not be a burden. May God bless all of you abundantly beyond your imagination, beyond your understanding, so that you will recognize that the blessings that you're given came from the Lord and the Lord alone. May God be praised. Thank you, my dear brothers and sisters, for this opportunity.